I got a deluge of 1-star reviews from people before the book ever came out, on places like Goodreads, with people describing what the book is in. And I was like, well, that's fascinating that you're telling me what's in the book. And the only people who've seen it so far are me and the editor.
Of course.
A lot of
Typical stuff. Well,
assumptions.
you've had to deal with that your entire career now.
Oh gosh,
that
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
backlash.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I am a openly outspoken registered Republican. I'm pretty conservative. I'm kind of libertarian on a lot of things, but I am that in an industry that is overwhelmingly 99.9% left and is based almost entirely out of Manhattan. So
Yeah, and I'll be honest too. I before I'd read the books or I knew who you were, but didn't know a ton about your background. And so when the book agent reached out to see if I'd be willing to have you on the show, I was like, all right, cool. I should read his books and I should look into him. And then he's been protested at this convention or whatever. And I tried to look into like, okay, was there something here? Like, what is it that these people are upset about? Why is he supposed to be such a bad guy? And it was definitely one of those situations where there was a lot of talk about how you're a really bad guy, but not any real examples of things that you had said or done that actually make you like a bad person. I mean, you see this happen, frankly, too often. There are people who are bad, nasty people that I wouldn't want to have on my show, who say racist stuff or do bad things. But usually if that's the case, there's actual examples of it where there's this other phenomenon that happens where people don't like you because you have, how you hold certain beliefs that are more mainstream, that are like pretty straightforward conservative pro-gun beliefs. And so they don't like that. And then they try to pretend that you're this other kind of person who's untouchable.
We have a running
it seems
joke.
Like that's happened a lot with you.
Yes, we have a running joke for about the last 10 years, me and my fan. There's Larry and there's Straw Larry. Now, Straw Larry is the worst guy ever. This guy is a monster. Regular Larry's pretty boring. I'm just kind of normal. But it's kind of a running joke. My ultimate sin is I got famous writing books while not having the right politics. And it's funny because my politics are basically half of America. I'm not an oddity. I don't hold any like bizarre beliefs. I'm a pretty normal guy, honestly, by most of America's standards. If I'm in Texas or Florida or Oklahoma, I'm a normal dude. My problem is I'm in an industry that's in Manhattan and Berkeley and where I'm the one wild red state Republican they keep in a cage and they poke sticks through to see if I'll react.
Right. But because I read the book, right, and I got to this section that we're talking about here about, use of force. And if you were there's people who play that character out there of just like, if it's legal to shoot them, you should just shoot them and be glad that you got the opportunity or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's not at all your perspective on this. The firearms instructor in you definitely comes out in this part of the book where you're describing like, it may be legal for you to do this. And I might be out there advocating that, that we have these legal protections, but it doesn't mean that you should do it. You should always try to avoid, whenever possible, getting into deadly force confrontations. Because even, maybe it works out well for you too. Like there's also just a sort of strategic idea to it. Don't go stupid places with stupid people at stupid times.
John Farnham's rules.
That's very much your ethos that comes through in here. It's not like, find an excuse to be able to legally shoot people. That's not at all what this book is saying.
The opposite. There's a lot of chest beaters out there where it's like the kill them all, let God sort them out kind of thing. And It's like, no, that's not realistic. And I get these people who are very cocky and like, well, I'm just going to shoot him because he's a bad guy and he stole from me. He stole my TV. Okay, dude. Unless that's that TV's made of solid gold, you're going to spend way more time in court on lawyers than your TV is worth. And so if you can just like solve a situation, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm condensing a lot of stuff down here. Yeah. If the bad guy has entered your home and is demonstrating that he is a threat to you and others, and he's got the ability and an opportunity to hurt you, and he's acting like he's going to hurt you, shoot him. By all means, shoot that guy. He needs shooting right now. Do it. And make sure you know how to do it accurately and fast. Mm-hmm. No, so when I say avoidance, but it's just you get a lot of people out there who get a lot of weird, and it's funny because it's not just it's both sides. Because on one side we get people on our side who get a little gung ho. Well, I can't blame them because it's like we're heading back into the 1970s with the societal decay and the crime and criminals getting let out for free. When the movie Death Wish kind of captured the cultural zeitgeist of people just being sick and tired of this. I get it. I understand. But on this other side, we have on the other side, where I talk about in the book about this, but we have guys like Joe Biden at a Martin Luther King Day event just a couple weeks ago, talking about how he's going to, your AR-15 is useless against the government because we have F-15s.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, first off, the tone deafness of this is, and Martin Luther King is a guy who had his Second Amendment rights denied by the government. The government said no. He wanted a concealed weapons permit, and they said, no, you can't have one. And so that's ironic. And then the other part of this is a guy who fought for peaceful resolutions to problems in society. And so you're going to go on a memorial event and say, to solve to unpeacefully solve the problems of society, I'm going to kill you with fighter jets. And it's just, it's madness.